No, no, no. Wait. What's going on? Guys, what's going on? Why is it checkmate? Ah! I thought that I'm getting checkmated. Oh my god. What an end game. No, that was something magnificent. Well, really, that's amazing, no? Don't you think so? That's something unbelievable, my gosh. Oh, yeah. Ooh, I thought that I got checkmated. No, because I don't know what was the evaluation. Five queens, or how many queens were on the board? Hi, everyone. I'd like to share with you one of the most amazing end games that I just played in the last title Tuesday on March 15th on chess.com. There were many mistakes, but the final position really speaks for itself. Let's have a look. I will also share some video moments, video clips, because I was streaming this game, so you have a chance to watch it as it was unfolding. It was last round, round number 11. I was playing against a strong grandmaster from Russia, Maksim Chigaev, aka Fandorine, and I was white, and he used a very interesting gambit line against the Alpine, so c3, the Alpine variations that I use pretty often in Blitz and Rabbit. E takes d5, and here knight f6, not a very common move. And actually I never really understood black's idea, because it seemed to me that after queen a4 I can then protect the pawn on d5 and have an extra pawn. In fact, black's idea, as Maxim showed me, is connected apparently with sacrificing this pawn on d5 temporarily, and after c4 he played b5, a very strong move, so he's trying to deflect my pawn from c4. So if I take with the pawn, then he played knight b6, he's gonna win this pawn on d5, and he's gonna have a very strong bishop on the long diagonal. So I just simply took the pawn with my queen, thinking, well, 2 extra pawns can't hurt. No, it can't, but the problem is that after rook b8, queen a4, he played e6. And his idea, if I just simply take, and I should have taken on e6, to open up all these files around my king and later on use them with his pieces. For example, knight f3, bishop d6, bishop b2, castle, castle. If I castle, bishop b7, and the position is quite tense and unclear, despite the fact that I have 2 extra pawns. But somehow my pieces are not very well coordinated, and his pieces are looking straight at my king. For example, after knight c3, quite a logical move here, knight g4 follows, and then bishop takes f3, knight takes h2, or bishop takes h2 with a lot of troubles. So I'm not sure how white should proceed. It requires quite a serious analysis. I will try to do my homework, and in my next games against Maxim or against someone else, I might be able to answer these questions. But in this game I played very bad. I played knight c3 because I was scared to open up the f file, but then I figured out that I need to open it anyway, and I opened it up, but then bishop b2 seems too slow because bishop b7 and castling will lead to the positions that I just discussed. So I played bishop d3 for some unknown reason, and after bishop b7 I needed to play bishop b2 anyway, so I completely lost my plan, and this position, I mean, just started to be winning for black, sorry. So let's fast forward. So I was struggling. Maxim played brilliantly, and he was, I mean, just one move, he could have checkmated me almost, or he could have won my queen, because after that I would need to give up my queen, and most likely I was going to resign. But he played queen f6, and he exchanged the queens, which seems to be quite a serious mistake, because he was the one who is attacking and my king was so exposed being on f3. But I managed to survive, or rather he managed to give me a chance. And in the endgame I played well, and I created some counterplay, and the position started to be very complex and even equal. So my counterplay turned out to be enough to make a draw, because suddenly I also created 2 passed pawns. Yes, Maxim also has 2 passed pawns, but my pawns are even further advanced than his pawns. And here we started making a lot of mistakes, because we were playing on seconds. Of course, the time control of the whole game was 3 minutes plus 2 seconds for each move, so we barely had 20 or 30 seconds at this point. h5, c6, and here instead of playing rook c2, I think at some point, well, Maxim just wanted to win this game so much, because he had such a great winning position that he was playing for a win, and he over pushed. So rook c2 was equalizing and getting a drawish endgame. Instead, Maxim decided to play on, and he played king h6, which is a blunder. Here I should have played c7, and apparently I'm winning, because after rook c2, e5, king g6, e6, king f6, I play e7. That's the move I couldn't, of course, find playing on 10 seconds, and intuitively it's quite difficult, because it seems, I mean, you either need to see this move or don't push your pawn, because if you lose it, if I lose it, then I might lose this one as well, but I'm not losing it. If king e7, then c8, queen check, and the problem is that if king f7, because this rook has to guard this pawn, and this king is trying to stop this one, but I play rook a8, and suddenly I'm threatening to promote both my pawns, and I'm winning here. So king h6 was a blunder, but I took on f4, he took on f2, so we're back to approximately equal position. Pawns are running like crazy, his pawn is running, my pawn is running. g5 seems to be a big mistake. Again, it's very hard to understand why, but apparently I had to play c7 with the idea after h3 to play rook a2, and then suddenly again I'm just ahead of my opponent, although it's very hard to calculate everything till the very end and realize that my pawns are just faster than my opponent's pawns. So I played e5, and what pawn to push first, also quite a challenging question. So I had to start with a c pawn. I played e5, h3, e6, h2. Of course, I have to make this rook a1 move to stop this pawn. But here it seems that black has enough compensation for a draw. Not compensation, but enough possibilities to make a draw. The problem is it's quite tricky. It's not so obvious. Here he had to play rook a2 apparently, and then g4, and then rook a8. So if I promote here, he takes and plays king h7 or king g7, and surprisingly it's a study-like draw. But of course it's impossible to play during blitz game, so he obviously played rook c2, and we started repeating the moves. Rook d2, although I had a chance to play on with king e8, but again I had so much trouble in these particular blitz games that I was just eager to make a draw, and so I continued moving my king, and here Maxim again decided to play on. He played g4, and this move is losing. Okay, I don't have any other choice. I need to play e7, rook d2 check, but the only thing I had to play king e6. King e6, very important move, not to block my own pawn. And after g3 I play c7, g2, c8 queen, and I'm just faster than my opponent, because here I can start checking, and apparently I'm checkmating my opponent, because when you have queens and rooks on the board, it's very important usually who is the one starting giving checks. But in the game I played king e8, and we're back to level 0 to equality, although it's not so obvious. G3, C7, and here Maksim needed to play G2 with a nice idea after C8, Queen G1, Queen E6 check, Queen G6 saves the game, although it still might be not so obvious, but if I try to promote my pawn, he can just keep attacking it and give checks. So in the game he did not play G2, he played Rook C2, and this one was the final blunder. Apparently, with so many blunders and ups and downs, this one, although no, probably I mean, it was supposed to be the final blunder, but the game continued. King F8, Rook F2, King G8, G2, and here, while I was streaming, and I can show it to you, I thought that I'm losing. I thought, oh my god, G1 queen is threatening. What should I do? Because any C8 queen, E8 queen just loses on the spot because of G1 queen, and it's black who's giving me a checkmate. And so I was on the verge of resigning, but then I just realized, wait a minute, I can give a check. And actually, I thought that I can keep checking. Remember, I was ready, I was playing for a draw. I was trying to desperately save this game, and desperately trying to make a draw so much that I didn't realize sometimes it's psychological. I mean, in order to win, you need to play for a win. You need to look for winning moves, and when you play for a draw, you just focus on making moves that make a draw. And here I was focused on making a draw, on saving this game, because I had no idea that I'm winning. I just a second ago I thought that I'm losing, and I was very happy with this perpetual King H4, Rook A4. But let me just show you that E8 Queen check would have won on spot, of course. But again, I was playing for a draw. I was very happy to find this nice motif of perpetual check. But Maksim, unfortunately for him, he noticed that King H5 would lead to E8 Queen check, and King H3 would lead to C8 Queen check. And he played King G5. And okay, I was very happy that I forced his king to cover the G file. I promoted my queen, G1 queen. I promoted my second queen. I was very happy until he played King H6, and I thought, oh no, I told myself when streaming, he is going to checkmate me, because I did not see how to stop this check, and I was almost ready to press the button resign, but I said to myself, wait a minute, I can protect my king, and what's important, I can protect the G7 square by playing Rook G4. Actually, Queen G4 is good enough to win, but of course Rook G4 is easier. And after H1 Queen, we reach this funny position where I could have checkmated my opponent in one, but I already calculated. Queen C to E6 check, and actually I didn't realize that it's going to be a checkmate after Rook F6, Queen F6, because I thought he still had a place to go, and then I was going to play Queen G6 checkmate, but no, the computer said checkmate. Chess.com, when you're playing online, you don't have to realize that it's a checkmate, it's automatic, so it's automatically declared the game won for me. And yeah, that was an amazing game. Let me move backward a few moves, and just I will show you the final line, which is amazing and unbelievable. Actually, black could have saved this game if instead of King H6 he would have played H1 Queen. That was the correct way to proceed, but then I could have played Queen E to E6, threatening to play Rook G4. Actually, it's surprising that despite the fact that it's my turn to move, I have two queens and a rook, and I'm not able to checkmate my opponent, because he always has the threat of King H6 or King F6 and counterattack. So I have the strong move Queen E to E6, and the only way for black to save the game is to play Rook F4, and then if I play Rook A7 threatening to play Rook G7, he needs to find another very beautiful line. The only line that saves black is by playing king h5, rook g7, take on g7, king g7, and suddenly black finds a very beautiful perpetual, and it's a draw. What a game, what an endgame, and of course it's something unbelievable. But I was very, very happy to finish my tournament, my title Tuesday with this win. Not only because of a win. Yeah, it's always nice to finish a tournament with a win, but just because of something unbelievable that happened with so many queens and such an amazing endgame. So I hope that you enjoyed this game as well, or the endgame to be more precise. And yeah, press like, press subscribe, and I hope I will be able to record more games like this soon. So stay tuned and see you soon.